What's up, guys? Jake with Tan Tactical. Come to another special video, a little indoor video. Hope that's okay with you. A lot of you guys said in my last indoor video that that's okay, as long as it's just kind of mixed in with the regular range reviews. It's hot outside. I don't like the heat. I need to keep nice and cool inside at 66 degrees and not 98 degrees outside. So today, we are going to talk about suppressors. We're going to talk about that process of how to buy a suppressor. This is a special video, mostly information. Not really a lot of entertainment, more education. So if that's going to be something you're not interested in, I understand. That's totally fine. It's a little bit different. We're trying things different here today on this channel for this video. There will be some B-roll that I'll throw in here and there just to keep your ADD autism in check. But for the most part, it's just going to be me talking to you in a camera like this, because I think this is important to get this information out as clear and succinct as possible. Hopefully, if you're looking at buying a suppressor for the first time because of recent events, you may be. Hopefully this video will be of use to you. So, I want to talk to you about my experience with buying suppressors. My experience is unique to me. It may be totally different for you, and that's okay. This is going to be different no matter where you go. For me, suppressors has been a fairly straightforward process. I'm just an average dude. There's no FFL, no SOT, none of that stuff. I'm just an average, everyday American citizen that likes to, likes to shoot long guns. I like to shoot them suppressed. So, for me, first getting into suppressors, I remember the idea of it was very daunting. It was kind of scary because I knew there was more paperwork, and I wasn't sure how to fill out that paperwork. I know you had to get your fingerprints done, and you had to like get them mailed off or whatever to the ATF. And I remember you had to have a photo taken and all that stuff. And it just, to me, was a lot because back then it was a paper process, meaning you actually fill out a paper form. You put in a physical photo and a physical copy of your fingerprints, and you mail it off to the ATF. And you wait for like 6 to 9 to 12 months hoping that you'll get approved because you've also paid a $200 tax. Well, these days it is significantly easier. And I'm going to talk about that process for you now and the way I do it now because, I mean, it's easier now than ever to buy a suppressor. And with the recent big, beautiful bill that just went in effect, not everybody's happy with it. I get it. I'm not happy with it. It alleviated the $200 tax stamp and hopefully open the door for us to argue that the NFA $0 tax stamp on suppressors is unconstitutional. So that's another topic for another day. Today we're going to talk about the process I go through now to buy suppressors. And this may be something you're interested in because maybe you're looking at buying suppressors now or after January 1st when that $0 tax stamp takes effect. Like I said from the beginning, at first, when I first got suppressors, which was not too long ago, it was like 2020, right around the COVID pandemic, the process seemed quite daunting to me. However, I have found a way to buy suppressors that is super efficient, and this is not going to be really anything surprising for y'all if you're into suppressors already, and that is going through Silencer Shop. Silencer Shop is an online website where you can buy any variety of whisper pickles you may be interested in, and you can usually find them at a decent price. Especially now with the faster turnaround times. Suppressors are kind of hard to get, at least in stock. You can still order them back order on their website, but a lot of times you may have to wait a while. It kind of balances the faster turnaround time of less than 24 hours you may sometimes experience for that approval process. My experience has been this. I go on Silencer Shop, I pick out a suppressor I want, I would order it, and from there, you have to do a bit of early footwork to get everything lined up for future, easier purchases. You have to mail them a copy of your fingerprints one time. You go like UPS and schedule an appointment. You get your fingerprints done. You mail off the form to them. You also need to give them a recent photo of your face, most likely like a passport format. It's on their site. You get them a photo, which you can do with your phone directly on their Silencer Shop app, so you don't have to mail anything in. Very good. And then you would go and after having those things turned in, you'd pay, of course, the $200 tax stamp to Silencer Shop, and they would pay for it on your behalf. We can send everything off. For a while there, it was paper forms, and that meant that they took care of the paperwork, and it was actually pretty straightforward and easy, but it was a longer process as you had to wait for it to get mailed off and come back. Then the e-forms layer opened up. Awesome. That helped alleviate the process, but there were some boomer gun shops, like my local gun shops, that did not like the e-forms because they felt it was the same amount of wait time. They just trust that good old-fashioned hard copy paper form that they like to fill out and mail off for you, along with the fingerprints and a physical picture, which is a pain in the butt to keep up with. Silencer Shop had streamlined that process, and even more so when they reopened up the ATF e-forms. The e-forms is essentially just like an online process. Literally just you go online, fill out the form digitally with the help of an FFL. Before I go further, this is not an endorsement of Silencer Shop. There's Silencer Central, there's Capital Army. There's a handful of other companies that do some kind of online process to purchase suppressors. I'm just telling you my experience. The cool thing about Silencer Shop is they have this thing called the Full Auto program, or whatever it's called. I don't know. It's like a computer program. Essentially, you go on Silencer Shop's website, you go into your account, you buy your suppressor, you've already given them the fingerprints in the mail, you've already uploaded a picture to them, they've got everything they need for you, you're good to go. But then, through their website, you log into the ATF gay forms online, and the computer program will essentially like almost hijack your purchase process, so that way it will go into e-forms and fill out all the information that you need. It's a Form 4 if you're buying. If you're making, it's a Form 1. You can do either one, but usually you're doing Form 4 if you're purchasing. It'll fill out everything for that e-form for you, and your FFL SOT will actually be on the phone or by your side or something like that to work hand in hand with you, because they will fill that form out with you online on their end, while the Full Auto program works also in the background. It's pretty cool. Now, is it perfect? No. It does make mistakes, unfortunately. 95% success is good. You know, I think I'll take that. But essentially, it'll fill out the form for you. It will actually attach your picture, all that stuff. It will actually take you all the way to the screen where you pay the $200 tax stamp. It will automatically pay it for you on your behalf. They require you to press a couple of buttons to help complete the process. And after that, you would just wait, which sucked. Now that process has gotten a lot quicker, and for everyone, it's gotten a lot cheaper. Now it's going to be like a $0 tax stamp. By the way, I might want to mention that Full Auto thing. It's not completely free. I think there's a little bit of fee there. I can't remember how much. If you do the Form 1, where you're going to actually make it yourself, whether it's a suppressor or SBR, I think it's like a $50 fee to use that program. I think it might be free or nearly free if you're using it to buy one of their suppressors. So very cool. Again, not endorsement for Silencer Shop. They are not sponsoring me. I'm just telling you my experience. Whispering. So how does this affect you? You've got this easy process, and these other online companies have an easy process as well. Right now, we're in a weird moment where suppressors are kind of hard to get, and they're getting ready to get a whole lot harder to get, if you get what I'm saying. Because with the faster approval times, people are like, I'll pay the $200 tax stamp, done. Getting it back in just a couple of days, great. That caused a big strain on the supply of suppressors. Companies are trying to get them out the door as quickly as possible, and they're not able to keep up with demand. On the other hand, starting in January 1st, you're going to see that tax stamp drop from $200 to $0. I get it. It was never about the tax. It was about getting suppressors, SBRs, SBSs deregulated and taken off the NFA. I agree we should not have to have those things on the NFA. The bottom line is, though, the KTF's already got my information. I've been buying suppressors since 2020. They know who I am. So for me personally, it doesn't make as much of a difference having the NFA process. They've already kind of got me, you know? So I'm already going to benefit. So it doesn't really impact me as much if they have my information on these new suppressors I'm buying. The big thing about deregulating the NFA, taking suppressors and SBRs and SBSs off, is it's not just a matter of opening up a shop and you start machining out suppressors. There is definitely a process involved to make that legal. And to go through that process, it's a little bit of a barrier to entry. You know, like, it's not super easy. And that is something that is going to prevent some companies, I feel like, some mom and pops, from getting into the suppressor game to begin with. because the process, the NFA paperwork, all that other regulatory stuff that has to be in place, it's kind of a pain in the butt, you know? Whereas if suppressors were taken off the NFA entirely and remove that regulatory process, you would see a huge uptick in supply after a year or so. I do think that the $0 tax stamp is going to increase the demand, but because of that NFA process still being there, it's not going to make it easier for the supply side. Because suppressors are still NFA items, well, we're still going to have the same amount supplied, more or less, because they didn't really benefit at all, the suppliers. You know, they still go through the same process, and that means less companies are incentivized to try to start making suppressors for themselves. In other words, buckle up, because while you may have a $0 tax stamp, things are going to get a whole lot harder to buy suppressors simply because the supply is not going to be there. So I've talked to you about the process, about how to go about buying suppressor. Again, not an endorsement for Silencer Shop. They've just been good to me. Let's talk about what I'm doing now, because I'm doing something totally different than what I just described to you. If you are looking to buy suppressors, here's what I chose to do. I have a friend of mine local to me that has his FFL, his SOT, super good guy. I'm not going to name him here because privacy, but he's all on the up and up, legal and everything. He has this whole thing set up so that he can do transfers for suppressors. And he is going to be purchasing about 5 different suppressors for me on my behalf. He's going to hold them for me until January 1st rolls around. Because what I imagine right now a lot of people are going to do is they're going to wait till January 1st to purchase suppressors because they know they're going to save $200 per suppressor. My concern was I would not be able to find anything in stock, because I think a lot of people are going to do that as soon as it becomes a $0 tax stamp. Not saying you have to do that. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. This whole video is just information for you about the process of how to buy a suppressor, because I feel like there might be some new viewers that are interested in this information. Hopefully this will help explain that process for you. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to answer questions about purchase process for suppressors. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning a lot too about different kinds of mounting systems and different types of materials used. I'm still learning things. I don't claim to know everything. I'm just trying to give you a knowledge dump about what I know. If I got anything wrong, please tell me. You know, I want to try and make this as accurate as possible. Maybe I'll make another follow video. Who knows? We will see you next time.